Reproduction is a fundamental feature of all known life. Unfortunately, sex in the animal kingdom takes many different forms, from violent to even deadly. Like humans, it involves competition and aggression between multiple males. Females often select males for mating only if they appear strong and able to protect themselves. Such behaviors can be correlated to expressions of dominance, leading to a stressful situation, such as sex due to duress or coercion. The common bedbug engage in traumatic insemination, where the male pierces the female's abdomen with his modified penis, that is as hard as its exoskeleton and quite sharp. The process is detrimental to the female's health, as it creates an open wound and is susceptible to infection. The injection of sperm and ejaculatory fluids can also trigger an immune reaction in the female, as it usually spills into the bloodstream and non-reproductive organs. In some orders of insects, the male genitalia enters the female's genital tract, and a spine at its tip pierces the wall of the female's interior genital. In others, the male penetrates the outer body wall, but in either case, following penetration, the sperm and ejaculatory fluids diffuse through the female's blood in order to achieve fertilization. To counter this violation, female bed bugs have evolved a pair of specialized reproductive organs at the site of penetration. Known as spermolege, these organs serve as sperm receptacles to make sure sperm migrates to the ovaries and not the bloodstream. All bed bug reproduction occurs via traumatic insemination, and the vaginal tract, though functional, is used only for laying eggs. One reason for the evolutionary adaptation of traumatic insemination is an adaptation to the development of the mating plug, which is a reproductive mechanism used by many species, such as squirrels and other rodents. Once a male finishes copulating, he injects a glue-like secretion into the female's reproductive tract, cementing her genital tract closed, to prevent other males from penetrating. But with traumatic insemination, the male's modified and hardened penis allows them to bypass the female's plugged vagina. Antechinus is a genus of small, shrew-like marsupial endemic to Australia. During mating season, the males mate with multiple females, and the litters have multiple fathers. Mating is intense for Antechinus, and can last up to 12 hours in some species, which results in almost all males dying off. Antechinus, which reach sexual maturity at just 10 months, have only a 2-week window in early September during which resources in their environment are abundant enough to support reproduction. During these brief but frenzied breeding seasons, male Antechinus will mate with as many females they can encounter non-stop, even defecating during intercourse to save time. They eventually succumb to exhaustion and die, due to an increase in a specific steroid in the blood that gives them the explosive energy boost. But this steroid suppresses the immune system, leading to intestinal ulcers or internal bleeding that result in mortality. The trade-off is that it allows males to utilize their reserve energy and maximize their reproductive endeavors, even though the increase usually proves fatal. If there were no male die-off, there would still be a small likelihood of males surviving to the next mating period. Consequently, it is far better for the males to invest heavily in one breeding season than attempt to survive to the next one. There are a few possible evolutionary advantages to fatalistic mating, and one is to ensure that males can focus all their effort into one short breeding season. Another possible advantage of synchronous mating is to overwhelm predators with large numbers of offspring after weaning. Mallard ducks, during the breeding season, can be extremely aggressive. Males tend to fight more than females, and attack each other by repeatedly pecking at their rival's chest, ripping out feathers and even skin on rare occasions. Female mallards are also known to carry out inciting displays, which encourage other ducks in the flock to begin fighting. This behavior allows the female to evaluate the strength of potential partners. Ducks are exceptional among birds, because they are the only ones of their species with penis that are extremely long and complex. A 1-pound, foot-long Argentinian lake duck has the longest of all, with a member that is 4 inches longer than its body. Additionally, the duck penis is not straight, but spirals counterclockwise from its base to its tip. Male duck genitals are either ridged or ribbed, but not for her pleasure, and even have protrusions that looks like teeth. This design is in evolutionary tandem with the female's reproductive tract, which is as long and convoluted as the male genital. Female reproductive tracts are full of twists and turns or dead-end side pockets, and some spiral clockwise in the opposite direction of the duck penis for added insult. This culminates to a non-pleasurable encounter for the female, causing them to avoid males or induce fights among males as a distraction to escape. Forced copulations are pervasively common in many species of ducks. Male ducks had evolved penis that would enable them to force their way into an unwilling female's vagina. But after a successful copulation, some male duck genitals fall off or rip in two, but will regrow every mating season. Once the season ends, the male genital begins to shrink and regress until it's 10% of its full-grown size. They are stored inside the duck's body, coiled, emerging only during copulation. The males that end up being left out after the others have paired off sometimes target an isolated female duck, even one of a different species, and proceed to chase and peck at her until she weakens, at which point the males take turns copulating with the female. Male mallards also occasionally chase other male ducks of a different species, and even each other in the same way. In one documented case, a male mallard relentlessly pursued another male until it flew against a window and died. The pursuant, still in heat, proceeded to copulate with the deceased duck. Nudibranchs are hermaphroditic, having a set of reproductive organs for both sexes, but they cannot fertilize themselves. During season, mating usually involves a dance-like courtship. Like ducks, nudibranchs discard their penis after sex, and a new one appears in a day. Male genital fencing is a mating behavior engaged in many species of flatworm, using extendable two-headed dagger-like stylets. These stylets are pointed, and in some species hooked, in order to pierce their mate's epidermis and inject sperm, known as intradermal hypodermic insemination, similar to traumatic insemination. The battle may last for up to an hour in some species. Pairs can either compete, with only one individual transferring sperm to the other, or the pair can transfer sperm bilaterally. Scientists believe this is a way for the mollusks to remove rival sperm from a mate's vagina, as sea slug penis have tiny spines which are often coated with sperm after mating. By discarding the male genital, they are making sure that their sperm will not be contaminated by that of their rival during their next sexual encounter. Biologists discovered that 24 hours following the male slug's genital was cast off after mating, a tightly coiled spiral structure inside the slug uncoiled, becoming the replacement penis. A love dart is a sharp stinger made of calcium and keratin, which some hermaphroditic snails and slugs employ. Love darts are both formed and stored internally in a dart sac. These darts are made in sexually mature animals only, and are used as part of the sequence of events during courtship before actual mating takes place. Darts are quite large compared to the size of the animal. In the case of the snail Parmerion, the length of a dart can be up to 1/5 that of its entire body, or, in human scale, equivalent to the length of your forearm. Love darts are shaped in many distinctive ways, which vary considerably between species. What all the shapes of love darts have in common is their harpoon-like or needle-like ability to pierce. Prior to copulation, each of the two snails or slugs attempts to shoot one or more darts into the other. There is no organ to receive the dart, as this action is more analogous to stabbing, or to being shot with an arrow. The dart does not fly through the air to reach its target, but is fired as a contact shot. The love dart is not a penial stylet, nor an accessory organ for sperm transfer. The exchange of sperm between both of the two land snails is a completely separate part of the mating progression. Nevertheless, recent research shows that use of the dart can strongly favor the reproductive outcome for the snail, who is able to lodge a dart in its partner. This is because mucus on the dart contains a pheromone-like compound that promotes sperm preservation mechanisms in the female. After a successful copulation, the inseminating individual is typically referred to as the father. The sperm is absorbed through pores or sometimes wounds in the skin from the partner's stylet, causing fertilization in the other, who becomes the mother. Commonly, many hermaphroditic species mutually inseminate, or trade sperm, rather than compete. There are many similarities between the courtship and mating rituals of animals and humans, as both involve display, preening, selection based on attributes, possessiveness, and a certain amount of crafty behavior. Thankfully, it seldomly reaches to the extremes of stabbing penis, or dying after sex.